The LPI is a regional planetary image facility, which is something like a depository library run by NASA. We make the images available to the public, and we have a contractual obligation to remain open to the public. Here are some images from the early days of the Apollo program from the Pictamidi Observatory, which took pictures of the moon from the Earth. They were Earth-based images. They took hundreds of these, and we've got a good set of those. Then over here we have some shuttle imagery. Our scientists do a lot of analog studies. They'll look at a volcano on Mars, and then they'll look at a volcano on Earth to figure out what's going on. So these kind of images are useful for that kind of research. We've got the 70 millimeter color transparencies from the shuttle. Each shuttle mission had several thousands of images like this. We've got the large format camera. This only flew on a handful of missions, but each one of them sent back several thousand images as well. And then over here we have a collection of the 35 millimeter on-board images. These haven't been indexed or made available on the web yet. We start the history of planetary imagery. In the old days, images came on film. They were hard copy. And this is an example of the Voyager film that scientists worked on for quite a while, a couple of decades. This was the way that they worked with the images back from Voyager. And these cabinets here have the Voyager and Viking imagery in them. Then back in the 1990s, the missions started sending back more data. Instead of thousands of images, there were tens of thousands. The technology advanced, and they started sending back, or distributing, NASA started distributing CD-ROMs of the imagery. The sets are big. The Clementine set was was like 300 CD-ROMs. The Magellan was about 250 or so. They were big sets. Here we have 3D models, and we've got them for each of the landing sites. These were made about the time of the Apollo missions, just shortly after they flew, or shortly before they flew even, so that people would know what they were in for as they came in to land the craft. Over here we have some Russian material. Russia, for many decades, was the only other player in the space game and planetary sciences. And we have a good collection of imagery. This one is images from Lunar 17 lunar rover. Over here we have an example of one of the maps. This is a tectonic map of the moon. We also have a good collection of books from the Russian Space Agency. The satellite of Mars, and very few of these were made. This was made by the German Aerospace Agency, and we're one of few places in the country that has one of those. And this one was made here. This is from Clementine data, made by one of our staff scientists who was a scientist on the Clementine mission, and he did all the geometry manipulation to fix the globe there. Newest one, this is of Pluto. Up until just a couple years ago, there was had no idea what Pluto would look like. It was 4 pixels on a thing. Now places have names, and they've been mapping it. And this is from the Cayuga mission, the Japanese mission. And besides the English, it also has Japanese topographic names on it. This is a project we've been working on for a couple of years. We have a unique collection of the LSEP, the Apollo Lunar Surface Experiments Package documentation, that was distributed to about 20 or 30 people at the time. I don't know of any other copies of this that exist anywhere. And You won't find it in OCLC or in the NASA data system or any place. And we've got about 700 of these that we've digitized and put into our DSpace collection so that they are available now. And this is an example of a display that any library can borrow for just the cost of shipping. You can come on our website and find it there and request it, and we'll ship it off to you. And it forms the basis of a nice display for your library.